Welcome to the show. I'm your host at Beerfield Hop with 2 P's, as always joined by Beerfield Theory. Unfortunately, before we get into anything else, is we've had to do way too often for various reasons over the 6 years we've been doing this. We have to start yet again with a moment of silence. We have to take the time to reflect, to pay our respects, and to mourn the worst school shooting we've seen in at least 10 years.
Since Parkland. I mean, it was about the same amount. It's just fucking sickening that we're still at this point.
And nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Been done. Nothing's changed. Thoughts and prayers don't cut it, but I don't want to get political. There will be time for that. It absolutely does need political action. Don't take that statement as it doesn't. I just don't want to turn this show or this into a political statement. We do that a lot. We've talked about it a lot. There does need to be change for the way that this country handles guns. Who's allowed to purchase, when you're allowed to purchase, what that process looks like, et cetera, et cetera. But for right now, I believe it's now 21 kids is the total count. 2 adults, 21 total dead. I'm not sure on the counts have been. As a father, it's hard to read. It's hard to look at these 10-year-old kids that are babies and see what happened, and after an honor roll assembly, and to read some of the statements from the parents that were, the last words were, "I'm proud of you and I love you," because of, they were being celebrated not even hours before. And, on one hand, it's like great that was maybe the last interaction they had, just because of the content of the interaction, because so often they don't get to say, "I'm proud of you" or "I love you," and you don't get that chance. But that also shouldn't be the last interaction any parent has with their child when they're at an elementary school. So before we start, 21 seconds of silence to honor the lives lost, and maybe 22 just in case I'm somehow missing something. I don't know. All right. Now, as we strive to do every time, we want to acknowledge, but we're going to hopefully somehow escape into a world of other things. So, on today's show, this is a fun show. I'm excited for this. I wasn't sure what we were going to do. We mentioned one thing. I changed it up. Dan doesn't even know that I've changed it up unless he pulled the show notes.
I was able to share it on Twitter, so I saw kind of what we're doing.
Yep. So we are going to talk rookie draft strategies. That was always the plan for this show. We did the rookie mock last episode, 1 QB review. Listen to that. But what we're going to talk is more in general how to approach Superflex this year, IDP as we do those leagues, and really how to attack that. Tight end premium. We'll talk about how to strategize, particularly for this draft class. We had voluntary OTAs, so we're going to do a little buy-sell on some coach speak, and we're just going to laugh at some other coach speak because that's fun, and get into some NFL topics. So, but before we do that, as always, we are presented by the FF Faceoff, fffaceoff.com. Go check out all of the awesome articles those guys are doing. Look at this.
I know.
Look at this.
It was in the chat. I was just waiting for you to recognize it.
I think he might have just heard me promoting him, actually. I think he might have just heard me promoting the writing.
He was like, FF Faceoff
Did I
Network.
hear FF Faceoff and writers and content you can find? We are joined by our optional third member of Beerfield, Ryan Miner.
Did I come in at the right time?
You came in at
you
like
came
the
in
perfect
at the perfect time. We had just done the moment of silence and for what happened in Texas, and I literally hit. As always, we are presented by the FF Face-Off. You can go to the website and find some awesome content that our writers are putting out. And then you showed up.
Awesome.
But there are I just got invited to the writers chat last week just because I occasionally plan on doing a little bit of that and notice that, we've got, I might be spoiling some things here because I have no idea what's released and what hasn't. But there's strength of schedule power rankings coming out. There are player comparisons that are coming out all the time, player versus player. Some of that gets Aaron yelled at, but, that's neither here nor there.
We get yelled at a lot. I see we get yelled at a lot especially on Reddit. You guys got some thick skin out there in the writing room. I see all the messages come through, and I'm just like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
I could care less about what they think, but Jesus Christ, these guys get eviscerated.
Oh, yeah. When they're right on Reddit, they're right. No matter if you're right. They're still right.
Yeah.
You got to use numbers on Reddit, otherwise you lose them. They don't like gut feeling talk. So
No.
You got to come at them with all the numbers in the world.
Jesus
they can be
Christ.
made up numbers. They don't even have to be fucking real. They can just be numbers.
They would hate you the way that you spell out scenarios, and they would eat you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh God, I know.
Like they do me right now.
That's because you're delicious.
They tear me apart.
That's because you're delicious. So yeah, check all that out. You can keep up with us, keep up with Anthony Serafino and his podcast there too. So yeah, that's fffaceoff.com. And yeah, Beerfield on Twitter, Beerfield Podcast on YouTube. We're about to do the beer review, Ryan, so you know what we're doing. Actually, no, we're not going to tell you. You're just going to go along with it. We're going to hit the beer review.
I'm used to it now.
Sweet. Already an old pro. Dan's not even used to it now.
Yeah.
What's fueling Beerfield?
You also, by the way, when I put that Zoom link in the chat, I did the live drawing for the Kickers Matters League as well. So the video of that'll come out soon too.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, you ended up with, I think, the second overall pick.
Third pick. There's an extremely duo before me, and then the number one pick.
Yeah,
you got the third pick. That's right. You got the third.
And someone thought I was Ryan C, so now I have I'm multiple characters now in the whole entire fantasy football world.
Ryan's got it's got two personalities, Ryan M and Ryan C.
Yes. And there's more.
The lead singer of Breaking Benjamin. All right.
And I'm also Brian to the Loaded Box original podcast over there.
Brian, hey.
Yeah.
The man of many names.
Dan, you grabbed something. Are you drinking pickle beer again?
I am drinking, this beer is called Diller Weiss. This is, Mars is out of Chicago. This is their Berliner Weiss with Dill pickle in it.
Mars is out of space.
Mars with the S is out of space. Mars with the Z is out of Chicago.
Specify.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to specify it. This is me doing some retconning work to see what other pickle beers taste like. So I picked up a 4-pack when I was at one of my bennies in my markets. So we're going to give it a whirl and we'll see my thoughts. I don't have any of my actual pickle beer cold. Otherwise I do it side by side, but we'll see what happens.
Ryan, I saw a can.
Yes. I have Lagunitas Super Cluster.
Nice.
Which is a Citra Hop Mega IPA of intergalactic proportions.
Yeah, I love also that they called it Super Cluster and then use Citra hops instead of not cluster hops.
Right?
No.
But cluster in an IPA wouldn't be citrusy. All right.
No.
And then I have Middlebrow's Mozart. It's a toasty little lager is how they call it. It's a Vienna lager from what I could deduce from the description. So German lager. Again, usually with German lagers, you're getting bready, toasty, and delicious. So Full review is about halfway through the show. All right. We're going to go ahead and get into some regular news, and then we'll do a little buy-sell talk, and we'll end on strategy. How about that? So,
All right.
I got to find the right document. Hold on. We're professionals. All right. First things first, the NFL. This is something that you do need to know for your fantasy leagues. They have made changes to the way that they are designating players to return from IR and how all of that works. Last year it was a minimum of 3 games. This year it will be a minimum of 4 games that a player has to spend on IR. So a little bit longer stint might make it easier to drop some players in season, but also going to make teams a little bit more hesitant to designate players. So a little harder to predict, too, when somebody might be back. Teams can return up to 8 players. You can designate a player to return more than once, but if you designate them to return more than once, they count against that 8-player number twice. So, a little complicated. Some things you got to keep up with. Any thoughts on the change here? I mean, I like that they're keeping more than just one that you can designate to return.
I mean, it's a smart move. So they put the 3 games and unlimited in place because of COVID. We're 2 years removed from it. Not removed from it, but we've returned to life the best that we possibly can. So
close to normalcy.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that's supposed to feel like. So
the new normal.
The new normal. I think 4 games is is that perfect spot. That's just under a quarter of the season of games. So things shouldn't change too much. We just have to be more in mind of how the IR plays out as we get into the season.
I mean, let's put it this way: guys are 1 injury away from this rule coming to light. So
fucking Christ,
I love it.
Go listen to the last episode; it was a good one. Colin Kaepernick is going to work out for the Raiders. So he gets a workout for an NFL team. Who knows what that's going to amount to? Raiders did just lose a backup quarterback that we'll call it similar play style, not similar skill set. Kaepernick's not been in the league for years. I don't know if this amounts to anything. It's just kind of worth mentioning, I guess. Speaking of things that don't amount to anything, Rashad Penny's dealing with a hamstring issue.
He's in full mid-season form on that one.
Yes, he is. And another reason why the Kenneth Walker pick was not a bad one.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we're worried about a player's hamstring injury in May, but he's got months to recover until his next one.
Right, he's 1 injury away from
it's 1 injury away from another injury.
Do you guys bet on NFL futures at all?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Did you see that futures on Prize Picks?
I have not looked at anything super current. I've seen some of the ones that have rolled through. I haven't done too much research yet.
The one I wrote on, you can find on fffaceoff.com. It has Kenneth Walker, and the over-under was set at 550.5 rushing yards. And I took the over on that before this news even happened.
Oh, yeah.
He should fall into that. He should. I expect the number to increase to 575, maybe by it's so difficult. I mean, unless Penny is to miss significant time, it won't jump up too much.
I'm hammering that over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He should hit it.
Give me Thor's hammer. I'm hammering that.
Dude, the one that's nuts is Trey Burks. I think it's 850 for receiving yards. George Pickens was I think either Pickens or Sky Moore was at 800. Pickens' future receiving prop, it's super fucking high. It feels like a trap bet. All of a sudden, Claypool gets traded, and that's why it's been set up so highly. Anyways, Colin Kaepernick. Woo.
I'm probably looking under on both the Burks and Pickens numbers.
It's so difficult. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder than people think to get to that mark, even for a wide open receiving room. He's
Right,
need a lot
well,
to break right.
And it is, especially with Burks, because it's still a low volume passing offense too.
Yeah, and Woods looks to be ahead of track. Looks to be ahead of pace. I don't know if that means he's going to be off the public to start the year, but it's no guarantee that Burks even gets this 800,
No,
let alone 875. So
and with Pickens, he kind of fell a bit. You've got quarterback questions in Pittsburgh, and he's not. Deontay is still gonna be the target guy there to start.
Yeah,
so
he should be. Yeah, I agree.
All right, NFL owners are counting votes to potentially remove Daniel Snyder from ownership of the Washington Commanders. It's about damn time.
Should be unanimous. Get him the fuck out of here.
Wasn't it supposed to be 24 votes, did I read, or was it supposed to be more than half?
I'm not sure how many
to get him
how many
out?
votes.
I don't know. I have a tool at my fingertips. Hold on.
That's right.
Oh, me too, because I finally got my computer to work that I've never used, that we bought like when the kids were in school.
Yeah.
And my son figured out my password for me, so I finally figured out how to get on it.
24 out of 32 owners.
All right, that's not okay. So I did read that right.
Yeah.
Well, God damn it, let's go.
And
I swear to God, if it's like
says-
23, just give him the proxy. But if it's 23, just give him the proxy of 24.
Goodell says he's not aware of that. So, and it was a Pro Football Talk thing. So who knows? I hope it's happening.
Seems 50-50.
And then other kind of NFL news, but not really on the field relevant news. Javon Kinlaw, profane verbal confrontation with a local reporter. Reporter apparently jumped when Kinlaw came at him. Duh. And then later said, I wasn't scared. I was just surprised. I could have been a millionaire and retired today if he had done anything. Like, multiple 49ers obviously spoke out since against this reporter. Like, I'm sure we could arrange your retirement if that's what you'd like. Why are you coming into our building antagonizing our players? Why are you putting out multiple hit pieces on one player? Like, dude, if you're a reporter, what the hell are you doing? Going in and stirring shit up like that.
Being stupid. A guy that should never come back. And it sounds like from the Niners fans that are across the Twitter sphere that this guy he's not even recognized as a reporter. He's just a YouTube-esque blogger type of guy who
Was it the counselor?
No, it wasn't the counselor. His name is something Grant, I think.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I think counselor's in the East Coast too.
Agent Dave Kluge.
Agent Dave. Agent Kluge is on the case.
Get him
He's
on
calling
the case
up.
here.
He's calling up San Francisco PD to make sure he's got his facts straight.
Make sure this has been taken care of. All right, moving into the buy and sell and some coach speak here. CeeDee Lamb claims that he grew half an inch while also adding 10 pounds.
I mean, is he still at the? He's got to be at the age where he can't grow. Like
That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Like, Ryan, are you an expert in human growth?
I mean, I've heard that men keep on growing for some reason to like in their 20s. I don't know exactly how old in the 20s, but where like girls like stop at a very young age.
That's
Like,
because they're always.
Because my daughter like towers over everyone, over the boys, but then eventually like those boys catch up.
I've been the same height since my junior year of high school.
I got to be about the same. I think I stopped growing. I think my last. I never had a growth spurt. I just always grew 2 inches.
Which I don't know that it
For, like,
matters.
5
he was already
years. No, it
6'2".
doesn't.
So I'm just like, what I want to highlight here is there's some things to talk about and other things it's just the hilarity of what we're getting in the off season. It's one of my favorite things to do every time something starts. We'll do it again when mandatory OTAs happen. This is the voluntary section. We'll do it again when training camp happens and try to decipher some of this stuff. Frank Reich. If I was a fantasy manager, I would consider drafting Nyheim Hines.
Where's my smoke bomb? Hold on. I got to find it.
You have a smoke bomb?
Hold on. I got to find the smoke bomb for this. A coach who makes this proclaim that he would draft so-and-so player on his team.
So, Nyheim Hines. First off, just 57 targets last season. Playing in 17 games, just 57 targets. Hot start. Really fell off. Lowest target volume ever. Matt Ryan does throw to the running back a lot, but unless you're going to take that 57 targets and turn it into, I don't know, 87, I don't want to touch it.
And like no point should we ever see. I mean, realistically, at no point should we ever really see Nyheim Hines over Jonathan Taylor. Like I get it if the Colts are down or up by a bunch of points and you got to play some garbage time, but they're not going to run up the middle with Nyheim Hines. Like they're fucking telegraphing what they're doing by throwing him out there.
Format, but they also didn't say what scoring format he was going to be, playing them in. So,
well,
if it's
no, I'm saying this for actual football.
I'm saying this
for actual PPR. NFL. There's no fucking way. I mean,
oh no.
But for PPR, for drafting into your fantasy team, that's the angle I kind of wanted to take this from. But even then, since week 9, even in full PPR, would have been like 7-8 points a game, which is
RB4, 3 best. So it's RB like he's an RB3 or 4 at best.
RB3 at best. I mean, his last decent week was week 9, where he got 6 targets, caught 4 for 34 yards, and ran 6 times for 74 yards against the Jets.
I mean, he had 2 games over 6 points from week 9, like after his blow up game against the Jets that you just mentioned.
Yeah,
where he looked like he ripped off a long run and which quarterback, or he ripped off a long play because he had 10 total touches.
Yeah,
like he's not a chunk play guy. He is a through and through PPR guy. But like you mentioned, like he started off okay, 8 targets week 1, 6 targets week 3.
You'd have to guarantee me he's getting 6 targets a game, like James White levels of volume, for me to be interested in Nyheim Hines.
But from week 11 on, I guess for the entire year, he had 1 game over 50% snap share.
Yeah.
From week 6 on, he had 3 games. So I'm sorry, he had 4 games over a 10 routes run. So a guy that's got to go out there and generate production, and in the low amount of chances that he gets, he doesn't even generate those. He had 19 routes at 4 targets in week 12. And that's with a very inconsistent Wentz. Yes, Matt Ryan throws the football a bit more, which is great, but he's not. I mean, it's again, Jonathan Taylor year 3. This is going to be the year that they have to carry into this, and they should be the favorites to win that division too.
They should be. So I think so. We're all out on that one.
It's it's all smoke.
I figured
it's nothing.
He's more of like a best ball type play in my mind. I wouldn't ever want him on my team as a bench player, but it's more like a best ball because you never know when that explosion week's going to happen, which he had last year.
He had 2 weeks of over 15 points.
Yeah,
that was it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, quote, feels good and fast.
I mean, I hope he feels good and fast. That's the 2 things that he's known for.
You're a professional athlete, so I hope that you're quicker than the average person.
I hope so. He still has Carson Wentz, and they just added Jahan Dotson to that offense.
Right.
And then nope, I'm out. See you, buddy.
Kyle Shanahan said that he expects that Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded at some point, but it's not a guarantee. So apparently talks were ongoing, and then Garoppolo had surgery, and now he's openly commenting about trading him. First off, Garoppolo deserves a lot of credit in this one for the open discussions about him being traded, the comments his coach is making, and he's just keeping his mouth shut, going about his business, kind of whatever. I mean, do you expect Jimmy Garoppolo to be moved? Jimmy and Baker are the 2 available quarterbacks on the market at this point.
It feels a team that just made the NFC Championship game that is now seeing the NFC become more wide open with Russell Wilson traded. I'm not saying that Jimmy G should start week 1 by any means, but the value of Jimmy G as a backup to Trey Lance is significant. Because if anything happens to Lance or he struggles,
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like the value that they would get in return wouldn't be enough to the actual value that he adds to the offense and to the team as a whole.
Ryan, do you think that he gets moved?
I just don't see him getting moved because like they've been talking about it the whole offseason. Like, this is going to be Trey Lance's year. And then you keep seeing, like, before the draft, he was going to get traded to the Carolina Panthers, and that never happened. And now you keep hearing the rumors again. So, like, where's he going to go?
Right. Someone gets hurt, right?
Yeah,
if someone loses a quarterback,
someone gets hurt in training camp or otherwise, and that's about it. Because, the Panthers went out and grabbed Corral. The Seahawks, we'll get to them in a minute. And who else has an open quarterback slot right now?
And I mean,
no one.
It's just if someone goes down,
or
like
struggles.
the Raiders have made some questionable decisions this offseason. If Derek Carr gets hurt,
if Tua struggles early into the season when Miami just invested a boatload, maybe then. But they just kind of sold the farm for Tyreek. So.
Well, they also just signed Jacoby Brissett in the offseason.
No,
he's not a bad backup.
He's not bad. He's in Cleveland.
He's in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of then?
No, I mean they signed somebody I think to back him up, but we know what the power of a QB injury is to a team that's trying to make the playoffs.
Looking. I'll tell you who his backup is.
And so you get a team like
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater.
That's right.
Yeah, that's one.
Same.
Like a team like Dallas.
Same
Like let's say if Dallas loses Dak Prescott, a team that looks and want to make who looks like a playoff team, loses a starting quarterback.
But Ben DiNucci.
Exactly.
Actually, it's not. It's Cooper Rush and Will Greer.
It's got to be. Oh, Will Greer still. All right, Will Greer. Holding on to the truther status for no reason.
No, he would be an injured one. If Cincinnati, if for some reason something were to happen to Burrow again, heaven forbid. You're right. Those are absolutely options.
He's one injury away.
Mid-season. Yeah, he's one injury away.
And okay, so there's one thing to note too. I'm pretty sure Garoppolo is going to make his OTAs too. Mm-hmm. Baker has already been sitting. He's not joining any mandatory nothing. So,
no.
we'll always commend.
Neither is Kyler.
Yeah,
I'm all team Baker too, man. I love it.
Oh, I fucking love Baker. I'll never.
Yeah.
$18.8 million. Pay me $18.8 million to sit on your bench. No problem. I'll do it all year long.
He'll get fined. It won't be like the Watson situation. They'll actually find his ass.
Yeah, let him.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Baker. I just want to see the man start somewhere else.
Well, and for the Browns, it's like you say you're going to trade him to who?
Yeah, they lost a lot of that. His market is taking a huge hit because of Cleveland's mismanagement.
That's kind of it right now. Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Mike Jones, Zach Wilson. Nope, not going anywhere in the AFC East. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and Pittsburgh with Trubisky, and then drafting Kenny Pickett. Right? They're not going to go invest heavily in Baker. The Browns are hoping that Baker will hang around and start while Deshaun Watson is. Here's what the Browns want. They want Baker to come play nice because Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended in June or July. That's been circulating. That's the timeline. So right as or right after mandatory OTAs happen, Baker's going to get the chance to start. The Browns want Baker to start and to do well, raise up that draft capital, get somebody to go trade for him midseason.
Or just ride him out. Rumor is Watson's suspension is going to be pretty lengthy. I still think it's going to be the entire season. And
really?
I think, I do. And, just from what some of the Browns beat reporters come out, look at how the contract set up too. For the contract they gave him, I think Cleveland's expecting at least. I think Cleveland's expecting a year, and that's why they set up the contract that they did too.
I think his contract is only $1 million this year.
Yeah, it's fuck Cleveland. Let's just keep the motherfucker really. Fuck Cleveland.
You think Baker takes that stance though too, right? Of fuck them and just doesn't care and still he's gone all year. You gave me the finger. Here's the finger to you guys. Good luck.
I hope he does.
Exactly. Yeah.
I hope he does too.
But I don't think I don't think Cleveland's going to go the way that Houston did with Watson and pay him to let him sit. I don't think Cleveland's going to pay him.
No, then they'll cut him, and I think he's probably okay with that.
Oh, I hope he gets cut. I want him to get cut so he can pick and go where he wants to play.
And then,
they take the $18.8 million with him too, because that was guaranteed when they picked up his 5th-year option.
Yep. Yeah. And then let Jacoby Brissett and Joshua Dobbs try to lead them to the promised land. Good luck,
Joshua Dobbs. Shout out to Joshua Dobbs in punting football.
It's more accurate with this.
It's better than throwing it because he's still in the league. Good for him.
All right, so I pulled up Watson's contract. So his base salary this year is $1.035 million. Then the next 4 years is $46 million each.
Yeah. The whole contract's set up to be
insane.
Him probably not playing this year.
Yep.
And his dead cap doesn't drop. His lowest dead cap is 2026 at $54.9 million.
Yeah, I hope he goes to jail, and then they just have to eat the entire fucking thing.
There's probably a provision that voids it if that happens.
I know.
So we started that on Jimmy Garoppolo, which I agree. I think it's midseason if he gets moved. Darrell Williams, signed by the Arizona Cardinals. Patrick Mahomes came out apparently in support of him, called the Cardinals and put in a good word. 1,000 scrimmage yards, 8 touchdowns last year. Does this pour any water on Chianti Ingram, and is Darrell Williams now one injury away for 1 year? Obviously, long-term water I don't think is there, but
I mean the entire backfield is not. I love Chianti Ingram. He was a round 6 pick, and Darrell Williams doesn't scare me at all. He's just a body there that could be cut at some point in August when they do cut down. So. Maybe he makes a team that puts, Chianti on the practice squad and we'll have to adjust.
Or they just cut bait with, Benjamin, who hasn't shown
that too
in any way that he's deserving of a roster spot.
I mean, I saw a post on Twitter, if you're a Chianti, Ingram fan and you're afraid of Darrell Williams, were you really a Chianti Ingram fan all along?
Right.
Who the fuck cares about Darrell Williams? I'm glad he was successful on a very running back friendly offense. Minus, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
It's a good NFL signing. It's not a good fantasy signing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nick Wagner reports the 49ers view Elijah Mitchell as their top option in the run game.
Until he gets hurt.
For now. Yeah, exactly. For now.
The Duke can't stay healthy.
Well,
he's slightly small.
Exactly. By the way, that is compared to Tyrion Davis-Price, Jeff Wilson, Trace Sermon, Jermichael Hasty, and something named Jordan Mason. Sorry.
And somehow that'll be a top 5 rushing unit this year because San Francisco.
Yeah, but hey, Elijah Mitchell is a 6th-round pick. You don't worry about those, right?
Hey, the man's got to be healthy. Hey, I'm glad he's stuck on. He's better than Trace Sermon.
He's better than Trace
Sermon.
Sermon.
We'll all be wrong, and Trace Sermon will be the
it was a 3rd-round pick.
Football league this year.
And Tyrion Davis-Price was also a 3rd-round pick. I do believe that Mitchell, based on what we've seen out of these guys, is the best option, though. I do buy that.
He should be. He was the best running back last year.
He was getting 20 to 30 carries during those games.
They'll run those guys to the ground. They'll run their running back to the ground.
They'll run the
next one come up. Yeah. You want to have every San Francisco back, as you can on your roster, because one of them at some point will get a chance to start and be productive. Besides, Trace Sermon because he sucks.
Yeah, he had 20 plus carries. Even from his injury on, he had 20 plus carries all the way through the end of the season and into the postseason.
It's a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's with a healthy Trace Sermon and Jermichael Hasty and Jeff Wilson around, if I remember right.
Exactly. Yep.
I think, like it really matters, though.
No. That's just the point. Duh, he's the clear top back.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, training with QB mechanics expert Adam Dedeaux, looked it up, and it said this in the article, too. Dedeaux, best known for his work with Carson Wentz prior to last season. So, Is this a positive?
Maybe. I mean, Wentz had an MVP season before he got hurt, which kind of, I think, maybe derailed his confidence.
No, he
I don't
worked
know.
with Carson Wentz before last season.
Worked with Carson Wentz prior to last season.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sorry.
That was great.
My computer logged on, and so it asked me if it was me on YouTube, and I hit yes, and it brought up Beer Fueled.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
It's got to be a positive. I mean, I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, any work he's putting in the throwing game is a positive, but based on Carson Wentz last year, does it make that much of a difference? No. I mean, not everything is Josh Allen. And really, I don't know how much of the issue is Lamar needing to make a bunch of mechanical adjustments, so much as it's the offense and how they're using him too. So,
Yep.
You know, it's not going to matter if he fixes the mechanics if the pass volume still isn't occurring. Packers' second-year wide receiver Amari Rogers is in the best shape of his life, and I saw this notification come through, and I knew we're in peak off-season right now, boys.
It's amazing. Because I think like the next day we had the same note about Zeke being the best shape of his life
I think so.
for the 6th year in a row.
A couple more off-season notes. Kadarius Toney is doing all of the right things, which apparently for Kadarius Toney includes off-season knee surgery. So Mac Jones worked really hard in the off-season to learn the offense that the Patriots don't know what it's going to be, and people are apparently really concerned about what they're going to do there because they're not sure if it's going to be Matt Patricia or Joe Judge or Bill Belichick calling, I guess, the offensive and defensive plays. And if Mac Jones is successful in this, holy shit, is all I got to say.
I am here for the New England Patriots implosion because of Bill Belichick being, I guess, Bill Belichick. I'm here for it. Please happen.
Zigging when everyone's zagging.
Yeah,
He's doing something. He's doing something. I don't know if he's zigging or zagging, but he's doing something.
he's doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing both.
Zigzag.
I don't know where to go.
Lost his marbles. There's nobody there that's known for their offensive prowess. So this is going to be real interesting to see how that goes. More serious note. Seahawks offensive coordinator Shane Waldron said Geno Smith is the early edge over Drew Lock to replace Russell Wilson in the Seahawks offense. Went on to say that it's mostly because Geno Smith has an edge of knowing the playbook and being able to carry over the concepts they worked on last season into this season, which, you know, Drew Lock's obvious first team activities. So how much do you read into this during voluntary OTAs that the incumbent backup quarterback is more familiar with the offense than the new guy?
I mean, it took Geno Smith 4 startable weeks before he actually became fantasy viable. You know, he was scoring under 14 points the first 3 weeks, then he finally went 26.6 in week 8. So I kind of give him the heads up right now over Drew Lock, but I'm also not really a Drew Lock truther at the same time.
I think the argument is that if you're Seattle and you think you're competing, it's a pipe dream and that's stupid. You know what Geno Smith is. You need to see what Drew Lock is outside of Denver, outside of a regime that, well, didn't like him. You got to go give Drew Lock a season.
I will say this. If you get Geno Smith, DK Metcalf,
Okay,
looks pretty goddamn good.
I was going to say, those are both names. Do you want to put some context on that?
I was getting there. I was just letting it,
Yeah, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Rashad Penny.
Oh, wait, did you guys see who they're playing week 1?
Isn't it
Denver?
Seattle's playing Denver. Yeah.
the Geno Smith show? Drew Lock.
I think it'll be Drew Lock.
I really don't fucking care.
I do.
I know you do. I probably should care more, but then that offense is going to be...
It's going to be bad.
Oof.
That's why I think it's a throwaway season. Just see what you have in Drew Lock and move it from there. You know what you have in Geno Smith. If you don't know what you have in Geno Smith, like looking at this from a team perspective, right? Geno Smith has been there if you don't know what you have by now, you know, if you think you're going to be a playoff team in that division, with Geno Smith as your quarterback, well, or your quarterback, the weed in Seattle is better than the weed here.
I'll just say this. It's not like Seattle's made the most competent decisions during the Pete Carroll era.
Well, that's also true.
He was gifted, and he hit on some remarkable pieces to create his dominant defense, and he was gifted Russell Wilson. So, and he's squandered pretty much all of it since their last big run.
Yeah, more or less. One thing I'm excited about here, at least a bit, Bears beat reporter Adam Johns said the new Bears offense is starting to transition to a run-heavy outside zone resembling what the 49ers did. He went on to say that Kari Blessigno is being used a lot of the same way as Kyle Juszczyk is, and I honestly just think that if they're going to go run-heavy and that with that scheme, it's good for David Montgomery, but that's also, if they're going to go that run heavy, that's good for Khalil Herbert in his one-cut style, who proved that he can be very viable in pinch hit duty. If he starts to carve out, a change of pace, 12 to 15 touch a game type of role with David Montgomery, and the Bears are running the ball 35, 40 times, you add option concepts in to get Fields' legs going. I mean, look, the Bears didn't add anything at wide receiver. Those concepts with what you have at quarterback and the running back positions actually could work.
A defense has to take a big step forward for that to really work in theory, though. Looks great on paper and looks great to talk about, but you have one of the worst offensive units in football, and you have a young defense that's hoping to take a step forward this year. They showed some strides in some key spots last year, with some of the younger guys that they had, but they need to get creative with Justin Fields and use his leg and try to minimize even some of the weaknesses that are still on that team.
That they can do that. The problem is you're copying the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo. You need to copy whatever they do with Trey Lance.
And what Baltimore did with Lamar,
and I think Baltimore might
the Eagles are doing with
I was just going to say that.
And those might be even Baltimore and Lamar with the one-cut type of running and what they do with the quarterback and the tight end actually is a better team, I think, to mimic than what San Francisco is, because you have two one-cut backs that can break tackles, because your second-best receiving option right now is your tight end. And Cole Kmet, who's not Mark Andrews, but, he's going into season 3, which is when we typically see tight ends break out. He was the top tight end in that class. You can at least see him ascend to a little bit more relevant. So what I will say is this. I don't buy it in the sense that the Bears are suddenly going to be a good team. They're not. And I'm a Bears fan. I buy it in the sense of this is good news for David Montgomery, good news for Khalil Herbert, and potentially good news for Cole Kmet, if this is the route, what the new offense is going to look like.
Plus, Dave Montgomery's a free agent after this year, so wouldn't they try running him into the ground, or do you think they're going to try to preserve him a little bit? Like, understand that, all right, we're still 1 or 2 years away. Because don't they have $93 million in cap space next year?
They have $30 more million than any team next year. I think they'll try to run the football. I think just like Detroit last year, I think that's their game plan, is to try to run the football and try to control the clock and keep games within reach, because they know that they can't win shootouts.
No, they're not. So they can't. Don't have the personnel to.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they can't compete in that way. So what's the best way? It's to slow the game down and to control the clock to the best of their ability. So,
and then for your defense to perform at an average level.
Yeah, maybe we get a Dan Campbell-esque type of coach, and these players buy into his thing, and it works for them. But we'll see.
It's not sexy, but it could.
Yep.
All right.
David Montgomery, based on Fantasy Football Calculator, is going around the end of the second round right now. So How do you guys feel about having him there?
So what I always say with that is, don't give me the round, give me the guys he's going around.
All right, so the guys before him are DeAndre Swift, Mark
Okay.
Andrews.
Okay.
Then we have wide receivers in Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel.
Sorry, give me the running backs around him.
All right, the running backs around him, these are after him now, are Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, and Elijah Mitchell.
Boy.
Zeke is going after?
Yeah, that's rough.
And a full round later is Saquon Barkley, which is one guy I would definitely be targeting.
Yeah, it's too high.
Is this for Dynasty or is this for redraft, Ryan?
This is redraft. I'm looking at redraft full PPR.
Yeah, I'll start to look a little more at those. I mean, I guess best ball we can look at and get, and try to pull from those, but
that's
Montgomery's, that's way too, that feels rich for him right now.
It feels low on some of those guys too. We got to do an ADP
Yeah.
episode, I think. We might have just figured out what we're doing next week. Because
This is based off 10 days. This is from May 15th to today. So
gotcha.
2,978 drafts.
That's interesting. Okay.
Wow.
That's wow.
I'm really surprised that Zeke and Saquon are going
Value.
that low. I
Oh
mean,
my
that's
God.
value for the upside that they bring.
Yeah.
Like Saquon Barkley is like the one guy I'm like targeting right now. It's just like I'm actually thinking about even just writing up on him just because I'm just that high on him right now.
I put Zeke as a trade away in the beginning of the offseason, and I'm even looking at that. I'm like, he's going in the third round.
Yeah.
Well, he should
Yeah.
he should be so great for redraft.
Yeah.
Dynasty, you gotta start thinking about cutting bait sooner than later. But
You do, but in redraft, that's value, and it's value
Absolutely.
on Saquon too.
Yep.
And Aaron Jones, okay, makes sense. Elijah Mitchell, I think that's probably close to the right tier. But
Yeah, J.K.
Sounds like a lot of
Dobbins,
hero
I
ball.
just can't get on to right now yet.
I can't get onto J.K. Dobbins right now either because he's not really been healthy. He's flashed, and we haven't had any consistency with the Ravens' backfield. So I can't get on board with somebody that what have you shown me, right? Not around some of those other names.
I'll wait for Reddit to rip me up and down on that one because I also put him on my sells list.
well, I mean, he's not gonna catch passes. He's gonna split time.
Mhm.
I think he's still gonna. I mean, it's all about what the offense is gonna produce from a touchdown standpoint because that's pretty much what we have the hope for.
Yeah.
Is that offense needs to come back to where they were just a couple years ago, and we saw Mark Ingram be a mid to high end RB2 in that offense, which I think is what Dobbins should be. That should be his ceiling. Like RB1 feels like a bit rich for him because, like I said, he won't catch passes and he's gonna be taken off the field more often than not, or more times than you'd like for Gus Edwards and maybe Tyler Beatty.
Indeed. All right, let's do a beer review, and we'll talk some draft strategy.
Beer review.
Dan, start us off.
Again, I am drinking the Berliner Weiss. This is the Berliner Weiss with dill pickle. This is from Mars with the Z Brewing. Mars is out of the Chicago, Illinois area. For a pickle beer, it's pretty tame when it comes to the pickle flavor. I'm more used to more of the bold, in your face, pickle brine up the ass type of flavor to it. This more so feels like the dill pickle is a compliment to the Berliner Weiss base, but very light. It clocks in at just 4%, so it's meant to be drank outside. Nice weather. You can have a bunch of these. It won't fill you up. It's not very filling. It's pretty light body for that. My only issue is that it just doesn't have enough pickle taste to it, and I feel like if people are going to drink pickle beer, they're going to want to really get into it with that. So I don't necessarily know where the market is supposed to be pointed at to, if it's supposed to be aimed for just pickle beer drinkers. I feel like it lacks a bit of the flavor when it comes to that. But if people really like that
Woo girls? Is it aimed at woo girls?
Woo girl, woo! I mean, it might not be enough pickle for even pickleback shots. So It's got the outdoor 4% feel to it, so that's a great thing if you want to drink it outside and shit. But or in large quantity, it just doesn't feel like it's got enough pickle boom to it for me.
I did a couple pickleback shots last weekend.
It's good. I do enjoy it, but it's just I want more. I want a little more.
Indeed. All right. I had Middlebrow's Mozart toasty little lager. So again, Vienna style lager, and spoilers. I mean, I had to hide this can from myself in the back of my fridge. This is a damn good beer.
I do love Vienna lagers.
I love Vienna lagers, and it doesn't have the normal Vienna funk. It's very forward sweet, but it's not caramely sweet. It does have a bit of that toasted malt note that just kind of balances things out nicely. I said very lightly sweet. I don't really know how to describe the sweetness of it, but it's not that heavy like cloying caramel or toffee or anything like that. So it keeps it very, very drinkable. Super light. It finishes nice and clean. Not a lot of hot bitterness, good clarity. Incredible. It's probably my favorite Vienna lager that I've had. Some Vienna lagers can get a little funky sometimes or be a little, I guess, a little overpowering on the malt side. This one definitely is not. The flavors are there without being too in your face, and it's very, very easy drinking for summer. So good job to them. We'll definitely be checking out some more of their offerings as well. I hadn't had anything from Middlebrow before. They are out of, because I didn't say that, Chicago. So another Chicago brewery.
Nice.
Speaking of Chicago breweries, Ryan, you had Lagunitas?
I did, yeah, and they're also out of Petaluma, California, and Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, their main spot's in Cali, but they have a location in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the Super Cluster, which is a nice citra hop, and that tastes very orangey to me, which is very easy to drink. And it's actually, you got to be careful drinking this, because I just looked at it and didn't realize it was actually 8%. And I've already finished it. And I was like, oh boy, I should probably slow down on this.
Or just grab another one and just have a good time.
I will have a good time, but cool. I'm like, holy crap. But yeah, I mean, it's super easy to drink. It's easy flowing. It's one that's going to sneak up on you, because if you have another one and another one, it's just going to eventually hit you. So
I'm having another one. Zwickle this time.
Ooh, one of my favorites.
This is one of my favorites.
Zwickle's good. Shout out Durban Chested.
It's actually a good beer to drink during the summertime too. I've noticed it's a nice warm day. It doesn't sit heavy either.
That's gonna hit you differently at fucking 8%, and you're outside sweating a little bit. Yeah, you're gonna get fucked up off of 1.5 of those.
Oh yeah, but it'll taste good.
We'll play those with disc golf, and about round 8 or 9, when you finish your first one, you're gonna be like, "Oh fuck, here we go."
Yeah, I'll be throwing at the wrong hole. I'll be throwing behind me.
I've had a couple. I've had a couple near black cases, so it happens.
I got to get out and play again this week at some point. Yeah. All right, draft strategy. So we did the one quarterback review show last week, and I wanted to double back and just talk, some of the differences with this season's class specifically about how to approach, say, a Superflex draft or something that's tied in premium. And Superflex this year I think is the interesting one, with the quarterback class being considered weak, but this notion in Superflex that you got to go quarterback early. So let's start with Superflex here. Dan, Ryan, what advice do you have to people that maybe have a Superflex rookie draft kicking off this season? How do you treat the rookies? What are you doing differently this year, or just in general from a Superflex perspective?
So the big difference is that obviously quarterbacks are going to be valued a bit higher. Based on certain years, you may see 3 to 5 quarterbacks. This year, you're getting 1 for sure. I've seen Malik Willis kind of creep into the back end of the first, which I don't agree with, but the value of quarterbacks are going to greatly increase. Obviously, in Superflex, you can play up to 2, and we all know the points that the quarterback positions can score is why the Superflex position is such an important position, why the league has stood out more so than just regular 1 QB leagues. It's because of how many points the quarterbacks can score. So getting yourself a nice, plethora of them is a great thing to have. It allows you to be more flexible, allows you to move off of players, and it gives you really the the ability to survive a couple injuries. Like the running back position, it's also the best time to get these guys without having to pay an astronomical amount of currency to try to trade for them. Go out there and try to trade for Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, Joey B, who's Justin Herbert right now in Dynasty super flex leagues. It's damn near impossible because of how much they're going to be asking for. So just keep that in mind when you enter your rookie drafts. The value of quarterbacks will increase, especially for ones that are highly touted and first round picks in the actual draft.
Agree. Like, especially like right now, like it's easy to kind of look at like Kenny Pickett's like a first round pick, but we haven't seen any preseason games. So like some rookie drafts kind of push it to the end of the preseason. So some of these rookies could actually be boosted up. But overall, I mean, the only one I can really see anyone really going after is Kenny Pickett, just because first round draft capital, and that's the easiest one to say. But then after that, it's just a cluster of Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, and then Matt Corral going in like between the second round picks. So this year it's kind of like you're more flexible to do with what you want to do at quarterback. But if you really need a quarterback and you have the draft picks, just you might as well just take it then in the second round, because you're not really losing anything. Because a lot of these other players are either backups or third string, fourth string type players.
And if you're quarterback needy in a super flex league, you're likely picking near the top of the draft. But in a draft like this, move back, because none of these guys are going to demand or should demand, top half of the first round type of capital. So if you are picking in the top half of the first round in a super flex league this year, move back, get something next year, and move back. And if you miss your quarterback, that's fine. If you need a quarterback, if you're that QB needy, you are not fixing it in this year's draft class.
You should trade for one, and that's where it also comes into knowing how to value players as well as just the rookies in there is what you could trade for. Speaking, I just finished up a 14-team Superflex rookie draft. Pickett went 102, and Malik Willis went 112, 112, somewhere around there. And this is not as Hopper just said, this is not the year to try to address the QB position. Yes, we could. Maybe could get a Corral, a Ridder, a Howell, or Willis, who all could have a chance to see some playing time this year. Maybe get a chance to start at some point, or in the terms of Willis, who may have to wait a couple more years. More than likely, though, these guys are going to be replaced. There's a very non-zero chance that Malik Willis never takes a snap in the NFL. He just never gets his chance. Either either Ryan Tannehill, plays up and he gets a second contract, or they suck enough to where they just draft his replacement next year or in 2 years.
This is the year I'm actually willing to trade out of being in any 2022 picks. Like if someone really wants that pick that bad, give me your 23 first. I'd rather start building it for next year. If I'm this high in the first, you're going to be this high again next year in the first. Because I
want Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall, Burks, and London are the guys I really, really want.
Because you look at Breece Hall is easily like the same the 101, but he could easily is just as bust as anyone else can right now.
Well, it's like look at Barkley. Barkley, in 2018, this is the Baker, Darnold, Rosen, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen draft. Josh Allen was insane value, absolutely insane value. We'll never see that again because of what he did. Is why we are where we're at today, even more so than not. But Barkley was going ahead of all these guys. He cannot miss prospect.
Yeah.
And then the Giants, they suck. They make terrible decisions, and then he gets hurt. And we know what the running back shelf life looks like. So there's always risk. That's why you got to go off of your pre-draft evaluations at times, and why landing spot and the ability to play year one potentially is so important to how we want to value these guys right away.
So just like Chris said, if you're in the draft and you don't want anyone in this pick, move back. But if you're going to move back and get a pick for next year too.
If you can, yeah.
Yeah.
If you and I'll say this, don't Don't start even like 2024.
Yeah.
Like just like you can get a lot of value if you do not want to make a lot of draft picks this year. You don't have to, or just trade for veterans
And
that are going to be productive this year.
Sure. So, in sharp contrast to that, by the way, the end of the first round stuff, the mock draft we just did for FF Face Off, which is going somewhere for something. I have no idea. I think that was going into an article by somebody at some point. Far enough removed, I don't remember why I did it. But
it's on the site.
No, the Superflex one, we just finished it.
Oh no, the Superflex one. I just put it out today to start out. We're still waiting for people to get signed up for it.
Oh, why don't you guys hit a couple highlights in those? If you guys could remember where.
No, I got it pulled up. There's a Superflex one that was running currently that just finished.
You guys don't know, I think, on Sleeper, right?
That was a what?
Well,
that was one QB.
Was it?
Yeah.
Am I losing my mind?
You guys just did a Superflex one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you guys just did one. They did it. I think they did it through Sleeper. I thought they did it through Sleeper.
We did it on Sleeper.
The one that Aaron just finished?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
yes.
Anthony just wrapped one up. Anthony had the last pick.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one QB.
What?
No, it wasn't.
He said it was Superflex.
I said it was Super. The one I started was Superflex.
Nope. Hold on. I'm scrolling up. I could probably have to scroll up a long fucking way to find this. It's a good thing I don't say much in here. Because, hold on.
There's so many conversations in there.
I know. I don't keep up with all of them. That definitely was not.
Yeah, I know.
One quarterback.
The one that Ryan posted hasn't even started yet.
If it was, I done fucked up. There's something.
If you go to the site, it's posted on the site right now.
Hold on, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer.
This makes for great fucking radio.
Well,
I love it. This makes for
holding up your end of this shit while I scroll through a phone.
This is great. This is my this is favorite.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It says one QB Dynasty Rookie Mock Draft result.
Well, yeah, we did the one QB one through that. Yes.
Yeah, because it just finished. It wasn't done to write an article on yet. I drafted it was a 5-rounder.
Oh God, it was one QB.
Yeah. Was it?
So I'm looking at the article that they just posted. The one that I'm not in. The one that you had pick 11.
Yeah, we just finished.
That was a one QB league. Yeah, it says one QB in here.
Oh damn! I was drinking.
At least you get a 5-round view now. Kind of like if anyone has a 5 rounds.
Well, to be fair, I also did not take the first quarterback off the board. I took Malik Willis at the end of the second. So
I think Malik Willis 211 in a super flex. Even in a super flex, even one QB is not the. I mean, I wouldn't
the worst.
QB, I just in super flex it makes sense though.
I wouldn't have spent a 2nd-round pick in a 1 QB league.
I took Sam Howell at the 214 in a super flex league because he was the last quarterback there. I'm just throwing darts at that point.
I took a kicker.
I don't even like Sam Howell.
I mean, I'm sad the article's already out there because I took a kicker at 5'10", and I wanted to see how somebody justified that.
That's funny.
Nobody else left. I'm going to go draft Cade York. Why not? Anyway, so Superflex kind of covered that this year. Move back if your quarterback needy. Get picks for next year. Don't feel like you have to, fix it this season. Work your draft board a little bit. Let's talk IDP for a second, which none of us are experts in, I don't think, but I know, Dan, you and I both play. I think one of the things that people struggle with out of the gate is where do I value defensive players compared to the offensive players? And from what I've seen, I did 3 years of one dynasty league that just folded, now a dynasty best ball league with similar scoring. And the way that happens is that you're going to start to see your defensive players fold in kind of near the middle, the back of the 2nd round, where you would see your like tight ends and quarterbacks start to come into play there as well. It's about the same. And what's going to be valued most is going to be your pass rushers and your linebackers, especially in points per tackle league. Box safeties also. Your defensive backs in particular, because the production from a defensive back is going to be so spotty, are typically going to go near the back of the draft, if at all. Again, depends on scoring. This is more so, we'll call it point per tackle, a half point per assist, 4 per interception. I think 4 per sack is pretty standard.
Yeah. So I know that, because I always go linebackers too. It's like I'm always heavy linebacker, and I got linebackers give me 21, 28 points a week.
That's because they're going to give you the steadiest productivity.
Yeah,
they're double-digit tackles, a sack, forced fumble, interception sometimes.
A lot of it is also based on how you reward, like your sacks, interceptions, and shit like too. Like I've seen leagues out there where they try to balance it out the best. How I run my best ball dynasty IDP league is the same way, where I did some research to look at how to set up your IDP scoring to get the most balance out of it. So, but as Hopper said it, you're looking at generally late first to second is when you'll start to see some of the top tier guys go, from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. There are some leagues that just draft, they do their IDP separately, and then you'll just go off of that. There's great websites out there that'll give out the information. I'm not versed enough to tell you who's who.
No,
like down enough who's who. I know the top guys, but
yeah, a little bit versed. The other thing you want to pay attention to is scheme and where somebody's likely to slide in, because somebody that's going to slide in as a 4-3 middle linebacker is going to have a lot more value in points per tackle type leagues than an outside linebacker at a 3-4. So you kind of have to know a little bit about a player's role and how they're going to be deployed. For safeties, you're going to have to know who's likely to, to play more of a strong safety role, to be down in the box, to play the run, a Jamal Adams type, versus somebody that's, out playing center field like an Eddie Jackson.
Absolutely.
So kind of IDP pointer there. Tight end premium, the only thing to know there is that your tight ends go up basically half a round.
And in this draft, there should be no difference. You should not be taking a tight end until round 3. Like, don't even look at Trey McBride. Just ignore it and wait till round 3.
Trey McBride and Jelani Woods are really the only two guys here that I'm interested in. Either Dolchik, I've seen people interested in as well. It's just landing spot. McBride's consensus 1. Woods had a good profile and lands in Indy where there's going to be opportunities. So
I'm a Dolchik guy. I like him.
And for tight ends, most of them, like, even if they get some chances, year one won't produce. The tight end position is one of the hardest to transition to.
Hard to predict.
Very, very difficult to predict. And a lot of these guys struggle to transition from playing just strictly in the slot as a move tight end to having to do a little more traditional inline roles where you have to block more and learn blocking schemes and shit like that. It's impressive when one breaks out year 2. And, a guy like Pitts, we all kind of predicted because he was really just a unicorn type of tight end prospect. But it generally takes a few years, and why you don't need to draft them highly is because you can just trade for them at some point.
Yeah. And one other thing, just real quick, we mentioned trading back a lot in this draft and moving around. If you're going for a guy like, like when you're going to get your guy, know where you need to move to, pay attention to ADPs, fffaceoff.com for that. But when you're valuing draft picks also, just quick note on that. The way that I tend to value draft picks is this. If I have this pick, I am likely to get this guy. If I move back, I am likely to get this guy. What is the delta? What balances that out, right? If I'm moving off the 101, Breece Hall is Jonathan Taylor profiled, could end up being elite. So I'm going to want a proven, player, or I'm going to want, at least two first, probably. Future first, because future picks don't hold the same weight because you don't know exactly how that class is going to shake out. So you're really playing with lottery tickets. But, when you how do you guys kind of value your draft picks? Because I'm looking at who's likely to go there. How do I value them? And, if that player is at near their ceiling, what would I need to compensate that?
Like I like our league. Like ours is what 16-team league that we have together. One of them that we
Yes,
have.
one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of them.
Like that one I'm picking 104. So like if someone was willing to come up and say like, hey, what do you want for the 104? I would definitely, with it being a 16 team,
You want a premium?
yeah, it's being a tight end premium. I'm gonna want multiple first because it's gonna take me that much more. Because I look at 12 as my cutoff line.
Yeah.
As a first round pick. So if you're giving me like anything 13, 14, 15, beyond that point, I start looking at a second round pick. I start looking at more of those as more of like I need 2 to 3 years out now. So it's like 3 first round picks in order to kind of move up to that point.
That's another good note, though, on future first, too, like 2023, 2024. Look at a roster, and you kind of have to tell yourself, is this team going to be a team that's likely to yield a high first-round pick, a mid-first-round pick, or a low first-round pick? And as you're looking, because you don't know where people are picking in 2023 or 2024, there's no protections on that. Especially in a larger league, like you mentioned, you kind of have to look and predict, where's this team going to be? Where's that pick going to land at to value it appropriately? That's an important thing that can't be lost.
Right. Or like, if you want to trade right now, like say like, oh, I'll only give you these years picks. It's like, okay, well, I want your 11, 12, 13, 14 pick because it's basically I'm looking at, the end of the first, beginning of the second round at that kind of rate to try to move up that many picks.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be, it's also, we know that not every draft pick's, created equally. Not every 101's created equally, and not every year is created equally. So, having an idea of who's coming in is going to help with kind of, trying to predict future draft picks and what those values could be. As Ryan was mentioning, trying to, value what these picks are worth and just in terms of what the draft class is this year. The value from the 102 to the 108-9 shouldn't be that much different, but in some years it could be vastly different, where we get a massive cluster after Breece Hall at the 101. Now you're throwing Kenny Pickett in super flex leagues. It really muddles those spots, and trying to move around becomes more difficult because the theme this year has always been to move back if you can't get the 101. And we won't, that's not something that's not super common. So just understanding how the consensus is valuing this draft class is going to influence what your league mates and how your league mates will view it, especially because not every league mate in your in the leagues that you play in is also as smart or as versatile as you are. So they may be going off of what they keep hearing about. So just understanding how your league is going to draft their players is also going to help you navigate through the draft, because there's always the risk in moving back that you're not going to get your guy because someone may view your favorite guy higher than you. You just have to accept that. That's always the risk you take. That's why it's better to follow. It's better to follow your tiers instead of just one player. If you're trying to do a value based, drafting and stuff like that.
Sure. All right. Anything else on strategy?
No, I don't think so.
Great. Fantastic. We'll be back next week to look at ADP. So is what I learned in this episode. I learned in this episode what we're doing next week. Yeah, I'm Chris Hopper at Hop BFF or Beerfield Hop. Holy crap. It's a long day. Beerfield Hop with 2 P's. Dan Thury at Beerfield Thury. Ryan Miner at Ryan Miner FFB.
_ FFB.
Damn, so close.
So close.
Ryan Miner _ FFB. FFFaceoff.com for the website. Beerfield Podcast, wherever you get your podcast, on YouTube and on YouTube. I guess.
On the various podcast sites and on YouTube.
I don't know.
Sure. Works.
Yep. We're out.
Word.
I'm done. That was the last brain cell I had to spare today.
He's not dead.